Have you ever felt like you gave your all to someone, only to be treated like you didn't matter? Maybe it was a friend who always expected you to be there for them, but never returned the favor. Or a partner who seemed to forget how special you are. That feeling of being taken for granted can cut deep, leaving you wondering if you'll ever feel truly valued. But what if I told you that this painful experience could be the very thing that sets you free? Imagine the look on their face when they realize you're not just doing fine without them. You're thriving. This isn't about revenge or trying to make them jealous. It's about something much more powerful, your own spiritual growth and happiness. Think back to that moment when you finally had enough. Maybe it was a big event that opened your eyes, or just the quiet realization that you deserved better. That moment, as hard as it was actually a gift. It was the universe giving you a nudge, saying, "Hey, it's time to focus on you now." This is where your spiritual journey begins. It's not about religion or complex beliefs. It's about connecting with your true self and understanding your worth. When someone takes you for granted, they're not seeing your real value. But guess what? That doesn't change how valuable you really are. It just means it's time for you to see it for yourself. Being taken for granted feels awful. It's like being a comfy old chair in someone's living room, always there, but never really noticed or appreciated. You might have felt invisible, unimportant, or like your feelings didn't matter. Maybe you found yourself always giving, but getting very little in return. It's normal to feel hurt, angry, or even a bit lost when this happens. You might have asked yourself, "Am I not good enough?" Or, "Why don't they see how much I do for them?" These feelings are real, and it's okay to have them. In fact, feeling this pain is the first step to making a change. It's like when you touch something hot. The pain tells you to move your hand away. In the same way, the pain of being undervalued is telling you it's time to make a change in your life. But here's the thing. This pain doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning of a whole new chapter. A chapter where you're the main character, not just a supporting role in someone else's life. This is where things start to get exciting. Because when you decide to focus on yourself and your own growth, amazing things can happen. Now, when I say spiritual, I don't mean anything complicated or religious. I'm talking about getting in touch with your inner self, the real you that sometimes gets buried under other people's expectations. It's about understanding that you have value just because you exist, not because of what you do for others. This kind of spiritual growth is like planting a seed. At first, you might not see much happening on the surface, but deep down, roots are growing stronger every day. This spiritual journey isn't about becoming a whole new person. It's about uncovering the amazing person you've always been underneath. It's like cleaning a dusty mirror. Suddenly, you can see yourself clearly again, and what you see is pretty awesome. So, how do you start this journey? It begins with small steps. Maybe it's taking a few minutes each day to sit quietly and check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What do you need? It could be writing in a journal or going for a walk in nature. The important thing is to start paying attention to yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams. These simple acts are like giving water to that seed of self-love and growth. Another big step is learning to say no when you need to. If you're used to always saying yes to others, This might feel strange at first, but setting boundaries is a crucial part of valuing yourself. It's okay to put yourself first sometimes. In fact, it's necessary for your well-being. Self-care isn't just about bubble baths and face masks, though those can be nice too. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and respect you've been giving to others. This might mean making sure you eat well, get enough sleep, or spend time doing things you enjoy. It's about listening to your body and your heart and giving yourself what you need. When you start taking care of yourself this way, you send a powerful message to your subconscious: I am worth taking care of. And that message can change everything. Remember those things you used to love doing, but maybe set aside because someone else didn't appreciate them, or you were too busy taking care of others. Now's the time to dust off those old hobbies or find new ones. Maybe you loved painting as a kid, or always wanted to learn how to dance. Whatever it is, giving yourself permission to enjoy these activities is a form of self-love. It's saying, my joy matters. And when you follow your passions, you start to glow from the inside out. That's the kind of glow that no one can ignore. When you've been taken for granted, it's easy to start doubting yourself. You might question your judgment or your worth. But part of this spiritual journey is learning to trust yourself again. Start by making small promises to yourself and keeping them. If you say you're going to go for a walk every morning, do it. If you promise yourself you'll spend an hour a week on a hobby you love, make it happen. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you rebuild that trust. It's like laying bricks. One by one, you create a strong foundation of self-trust. As you continue on this path, you'll start to discover new things about yourself. Maybe you'll find out you're braver than you thought, or more creative. You might uncover strengths you never knew you had. This process of self-discovery is exciting and empowering. It's like being an explorer in your own life, uncovering hidden treasures within yourself. Each new discovery is a reminder of how complex and amazing you really are. Change can be scary, especially when you're used to putting others first. But embracing change is a key part of this journey. It's okay if you don't have it all figured out right away. Growth isn't always a straight line. Sometimes you might take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's normal and it's okay. The important thing is to keep moving forward, even if it's just a tiny bit each day. As you grow and change, you might find that some people in your life aren't comfortable with the new you. That's okay too. Not everyone will understand or support your journey, and that's not your responsibility. Your job is to focus on your own growth and happiness. Here's something amazing about focusing on your own spiritual growth and self-love. It doesn't just change you. It changes how you interact with the world. When you value yourself, you naturally start to attract people and situations that also value you. It's like you're sending out a signal to the universe saying, I know my worth, and I expect to be treated accordingly. You might notice that you start having more authentic relationships. Because you're not desperately seeking approval from others, you can be more genuine in your interactions. You'll likely find it easier to set healthy boundaries, speak your truth, and walk away from situations that don't serve you. This isn't about becoming selfish or uncaring. In fact, when you take care of yourself first, you have more to give to others. It's like putting on your own oxygen mask before helping others on a plane. You need to be strong and centered to truly be there for the people in your life. Now let's be real for a moment. This journey isn't always going to be smooth sailing. There will be days when old doubts creep in, or when you miss the person who took you for granted. You might even be tempted to reach out to them or fall back into old patterns. These moments don't mean you've failed or that you're not growing. They're just part of the process. When these tough times come, be gentle with yourself. Remind yourself of how far you've come. Look back at your journal entries or think about the positive changes you've made. It's okay to feel sad or uncertain sometimes. The key is not to let these feelings derail you. Instead, use them as opportunities to practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself like you would to a dear friend who's going through a hard time. Offer yourself comfort and understanding, then gently guide yourself back to your path of growth. As you continue on this journey, you might find yourself facing the idea of forgiveness. This can be a tricky concept, especially when you've been hurt. But here's the thing. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. When you hold on to these negative feelings, it's like carrying around a heavy backpack everywhere you go. Forgiveness is about setting down that backpack and walking freely. Forgiving someone who took you for granted doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life or trust them again. It's something you do for yourself, not for them. It might not happen overnight, and that's okay. Forgiveness is a process, and it happens in its own time. As you focus on your own growth and happiness, you might find that forgiveness comes more naturally. As you move forward on this journey of self-discovery and growth, it's important to celebrate your progress. Too often we focus on how far we still have to go and forget to acknowledge how far we've come. Take time to recognize your achievements, no matter how small they might seem. Did you stand up for yourself in a situation where you would have previously stayed quiet? That's worth celebrating. Did you spend an evening doing something you love instead of what you think others expect of you? That's a win. These celebrations don't have to be big or elaborate. Maybe it's treating yourself to your favorite coffee or taking a moment to really feel proud of yourself. The important thing is to acknowledge your growth. This not only feels good, but it also motivates you to keep going. As you continue to focus on your own growth and happiness, something interesting starts to happen. The changes you're making on the inside begin to show on the outside. Maybe you start carrying yourself with more confidence. Perhaps you're smiling more, or your eyes have a new sparkle. People around you might start to notice that there's something different about you. They might not be able to put their finger on exactly what it is, but they can sense that you've changed. This is when things get really interesting. The person who took you for granted, they start to notice too. Maybe they see a post on social media where you're clearly having a great time, or they hear through mutual friends that you're doing really well. Suddenly, they realize that you're not just okay without them. You're thriving. Now remember, this isn't the goal of your journey. You're not doing this to impress them or to make them regret their actions. But it's a natural consequence of your growth. When you start valuing yourself, others can't help but see your value too. It's like you've been a beautiful flower all along, but now you're in full bloom, impossible to ignore. Imagine the surprise of the person who took you for granted when they see how well you're doing. They might be confused at first. After all, they're used to thinking of you as someone who was always there, someone who needed them. Seeing you happy and thriving without them doesn't fit with the image they had of you. They might reach out, curious about what's changed, or they might watch from afar, wondering how you've transformed so much. Either way, their shock is a clear sign of how much you've grown. It's proof that you've broken free from the role they had cast you in. But here's the important part. Their reaction doesn't matter. Whether they're shocked, regretful, or indifferent, it doesn't change your worth or your journey. You're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. As you continue to grow and thrive, you'll find that life takes on a new flavor. Things that used to bother you might not seem so important anymore. You'll likely find yourself attracting new opportunities and relationships that align with your true self. This isn't magic. It's the natural result of knowing your worth and living authentically. You might discover new passions or rediscover old ones. Maybe you'll take that trip you've always dreamed of, or start that project you've been putting off. As you honor your own needs and desires, you'll find that life becomes richer and more fulfilling. Remember, this journey isn't about becoming perfect or never feeling sad or hurt again. It's about building a strong foundation of self-love and self-respect that can weather any storm. It's about creating a life that feels true to you, not one that's built around pleasing others or seeking their approval. Your spiritual growth and self-discovery don't have an end point. It's an ongoing journey that continues throughout your life. There will always be new things to learn about yourself, new challenges to face, and new joys to experience. The difference is that now you're facing life from a place of self-love and inner strength. As you move forward, remember to be patient and kind with yourself. Growth isn't always linear, and that's okay. There might be times when you slip into old patterns or face new challenges. But now you have the tools and the self-awareness to handle these situations with grace and resilience. Keep nurturing your relationship with yourself. Continue to set aside time for self-reflection and self-care. Stay connected with your passions and the things that bring you joy, and always, always remember your worth. The person who once took you for granted may indeed be shocked by how well you're doing without them. But the real triumph isn't in their reaction. It's in the fact that you've discovered your own strength, your own worth, and your own path to happiness. You've turned a painful experience into an opportunity for growth, and that's something truly amazing. Your journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth is uniquely yours. Embrace it, celebrate it, and keep moving forward. The best is yet to come, and it's all because you chose to value yourself and embark on this transformative journey. You're not just doing better without them. You're becoming the best version of yourself, and that's a beautiful thing to witness. Self-love isn't just a trendy phrase. It's the foundation of your spiritual growth. Think of it as the soil in which you're planting the seeds of your new life. When you start to love yourself, really love yourself, everything changes. It's not about being selfish or thinking you're better than others. It's about recognizing your own worth and treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show to a dear friend. Start by paying attention to your self-talk. You know, that little voice in your head that comments on everything you do. Is it kind, or does it criticize you all the time? If it's always putting you down, it's time to change that. When you catch yourself thinking something negative, pause and ask, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then it's not okay to say it to yourself either. Try to replace those negative thoughts with more positive, supportive ones. Another way to practice self-love is to take care of your needs. This means different things for different people. Maybe for you, it's making sure you get enough sleep, or eating foods that make you feel good. It could be setting aside time each day to do something you enjoy, even if it's just for a few minutes. The important thing is to make yourself a priority. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. By taking care of yourself, you're actually putting yourself in a better position to care for others too. Self-love also means setting boundaries. This can be tough, especially if you're used to always saying yes to others. But it's crucial for your well-being. It's okay to say no to things that don't serve you or make you feel good. It's okay to take time for yourself. In fact, it's not just okay, it's necessary. When you set healthy boundaries, you're telling the world and yourself that your needs and feelings matter. As you practice self-love, you might feel a bit uncomfortable at first. That's normal. If you're not used to prioritizing yourself, it can feel strange or even selfish. But stick with it. Over time, it gets easier, and you'll start to see the benefits in every area of your life. Now, let's talk about one of the most challenging but important parts of this journey, letting go. When someone has taken you for granted, it's easy to hold on to hurt feelings, anger, or even hope that things will change. But holding on to these emotions is like carrying around a heavy backpack everywhere you go. It weighs you down and holds you back from moving forward. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting what happened or saying it was okay. It means releasing the hold that person or situation has on your emotions and your life. It's about choosing your own happiness and peace over dwelling on past hurts. One way to start letting go is through forgiveness. Now, this is a big word, and it can feel impossible sometimes. But here's the thing. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about freeing yourself. When you forgive, you're not saying what they did was okay. You're saying that you're not going to let it control your life anymore. Forgiveness is a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. Be patient with yourself. You might need to forgive the same thing many times before it really sticks. That's okay. Each time you choose forgiveness, you're taking a step towards freedom. Another important part of letting go is focusing on the present moment. When we hold on to past hurts, we're not fully living in the now. Try to catch yourself when you're replaying old scenarios in your head or worrying about what might happen. Gently bring your attention back to the present. What's happening right now? What can you see, hear, feel? This practice of mindfulness can help you let go of the past and stop worrying about the future. As you let go, you make space for new and better things to come into your life. It's like cleaning out a cluttered room. At first, it might feel empty, but that emptiness is full of potential. It's making space for new experiences, new relationships, and new parts of yourself to grow. As you continue on this journey of self-love and letting go, you'll start to notice changes in yourself. These changes might be subtle at first, but over time, they become more obvious. Let's talk about some signs that show you're really growing and doing better. First, you might notice that you're more comfortable being alone. Before, you might have felt lonely or anxious when you weren't with others. Now you start to enjoy your own company. You find peace in quiet moments and joy in doing things just for yourself. This is a big sign of growth because it shows you're becoming your own best friend. Another sign is that you start making decisions based on what you want, not just what others expect of you. Maybe you choose a new hobby that's just for you, even if others don't understand it. Or perhaps you make a big life decision that feels right for you, even if it's not what everyone else thinks you should do. This shows you're trusting yourself and valuing your own wants and needs. You might also notice that you're better at handling stress and setbacks. Things that used to really upset you don't bother you as much anymore. You're able to take a step back, take a deep breath, and respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. This doesn't mean you never get upset, but you're better at managing your emotions and not letting them control you. Your relationships might start to change too. You might find that you're attracting different kinds of people into your life. People who appreciate you for who you are and don't take you for granted. You might also notice that you're better at communicating your needs and setting boundaries in your relationships. This is a clear sign that you're valuing yourself more. One big sign of growth is that you start to feel more confident. This isn't about being loud or showy. It's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from knowing your own worth. You might find yourself speaking up more in conversations, trying new things without fear of failure, or simply feeling more comfortable in your own skin. You might also notice that you're more grateful for the good things in your life. When we're caught up in hurt or negativity, it's easy to overlook the positive. But as you grow, you start to notice and appreciate the small joys in life. This gratitude can really boost your happiness and help you stay positive even when things are tough. Another sign of growth is that you stop comparing yourself to others so much. You realize that everyone's journey is different, and you focus on your own progress instead of worrying about how you measure up to others. This is huge because it allows you to celebrate your own achievements without feeling like you're in competition with everyone else. You might find that you're more open to learning and trying new things. Growth often comes with curiosity. You might find yourself picking up new hobbies, reading more, or just being more interested in learning about the world around you. This openness to new experiences is a clear sign that you're growing and expanding as a person. Lastly, you might notice that you're more resilient. When challenges come up, and they will, because that's just part of life, you're better able to face them. You don't crumble under pressure like you might have before. Instead, you're able to stay strong, find solutions, and keep moving forward. This resilience is a powerful sign of your growth and strength. Remember, growth is a journey, not a destination. You won't suddenly wake up one day and be a completely different person. These changes happen gradually over time. Some days you might feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's normal and it's okay. The important thing is to keep moving forward, keep loving yourself, and keep believing in your own worth. As you notice these signs of growth in yourself, take time to celebrate them. Acknowledge how far you've come and be proud of yourself for doing this work. It's not easy to grow and change, especially after being hurt or taken for granted. But you're doing it, and that's something to be really proud of. And here's something amazing. As you grow and change, you might find that the person who once took you for granted starts to notice. They might be surprised or even shocked by how well you're doing without them. But remember, you're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. Their reaction is just a side effect of your awesome growth and transformation. So keep going. Keep loving yourself. Keep letting go of what no longer serves you, and keep celebrating your growth. You're on an amazing journey, and the best is yet to come. As you continue on your journey of self-discovery and growth, something interesting starts to happen. The person who once took you for granted begins to notice the changes in you. It's like they're seeing you for the first time, and they're often shocked by what they see. Maybe they spot you out and about, laughing with friends and radiating confidence. Or perhaps they hear through the grapevine about your new job, hobby, or adventure. Whatever it is, they can't help but notice that you're thriving without them. This realization often comes as a big surprise. Their shock might show in different ways. Some might reach out, suddenly wanting to be a part of your life again. They might compliment you on how great you look or how well you're doing. Others might watch from afar, perhaps liking your social media posts or asking mutual friends about you. Some might even feel a twinge of regret for not appreciating you when they had the chance. But here's the important thing to remember. Their reaction isn't the point of your journey. You didn't start this path of growth to impress them or make them regret their actions. You did it for yourself, to become the best version of you. Their shock is just a side effect of your amazing transformation. It's natural to feel a mix of emotions when you notice their reaction. You might feel a sense of satisfaction or even vindication. After all, it's nice to be appreciated, especially by someone who didn't value you before. But you might also feel indifferent, realizing that their opinion doesn't hold the same weight it once did. Whatever you feel, it's okay. Allow yourself to acknowledge these emotions without judgment, but also remind yourself of how far you've come. You're no longer that person who needed their approval or validation. You've grown beyond that, and that's something to be proud of. If they try to re-enter your life, remember that you're in control now. You get to decide if and how they fit into your new life. Don't feel pressured to let them back in, just because they've finally noticed your worth. Trust your instincts and prioritize your own well-being. If you do choose to interact with them, do it from a place of strength and self-assurance. Their shock at your growth is a powerful reminder of how much you've changed. It's evidence of the hard work you've put into loving yourself and creating a life you love. But remember, you don't need their reaction to validate your progress. You know how far you've come, and that's what truly matters. As we wrap up this journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. From feeling taken for granted and undervalued, you've transformed into someone who knows their worth and lives it every day. That's an incredible achievement, and you should be so proud of yourself. Remember, this journey of growth and self-discovery is ongoing. There's no final destination where you suddenly become perfect and never face challenges again. Life will always have its ups and downs, but now you have the tools and the inner strength to handle whatever comes your way. You've learned to love yourself, to set healthy boundaries, and to prioritize your own well-being. You've discovered the power of letting go and moving forward. You've seen the signs of your own growth and celebrated your progress. And you've realized that your worth isn't determined by how others treat you, but by how you treat yourself. As you continue on your path, keep nurturing these new habits and mindsets. Keep choosing yourself every single day. When you face setbacks or doubts, and you will, because that's part of being human, be gentle with yourself. Remember how far you've come and trust that you have the strength to keep going. Don't be afraid to keep growing and changing. Try new things, meet new people, explore new ideas. The world is full of possibilities, and you're now in a place where you can embrace them with open arms. And if you ever find yourself slipping into old patterns or negative thoughts, that's okay. It happens to everyone. The important thing is to recognize it and gently guide yourself back to self-love and self-respect. You have the power to choose your path every moment of every day. Remember, the person who once took you for granted may be shocked by your growth, but their reaction isn't the measure of your success. Your happiness, your peace of mind, your self-love, these are the true markers of how far you've come. You are worthy of love, respect, and appreciation, especially from yourself. You are capable of amazing things, and you deserve a life filled with joy, growth, and fulfillment. So keep shining, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. Your journey is uniquely yours, and it's beautiful. Embrace it fully and watch as life unfolds in wonderful ways you might never have imagined. You're not just doing better without them. You're thriving, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself. And that's something truly worth celebrating. In this journey, we've explored how being taken for granted can become a powerful catalyst for personal and spiritual growth. We've seen how focusing on self-love, letting go of past hurts, and embracing change can lead to a profound transformation. Remember, your worth isn't determined by how others treat you, but by how you value yourself. The shock of the person who once took you for granted is just a reflection of the amazing growth you've achieved. But the real triumph is in how you've discovered your own strength, worth, and path to happiness. As you move forward, continue to nurture your relationship with yourself. Keep setting healthy boundaries, pursuing your passions, and celebrating your progress. Your journey of self-discovery and growth is ongoing, and each day brings new opportunities to choose yourself and your happiness. You've turned a painful experience into an opportunity for growth, and that's something truly remarkable. You're not just doing better without them. You're becoming the best version of yourself. And that's a beautiful thing to witness and experience. So keep shining, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. Your journey is uniquely yours, and it's filled with endless possibilities. Embrace it fully, and watch as life unfolds in wonderful ways you might never have imagined. You've got this, and the best is yet to come.